Part 120. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1191. The giant shadow was as huge as a tiger, and the moonlight shone impartially on it. What frightens me is that it has 9 heads and a human-like face. This is an enlightened beast. The classic of mountains and seas records, the southern abyss of Kunlun is 300 feet deep. The enlightened beast has a body similar to that of a tiger and has 9 heads, all with human faces. It stands on Kunlun to the east. The enlightened beast, the patron saint of Kunlun Mountain, is also a heavenly beast. It is a kind of animal that guards the gates of heaven. It prevents any abnormal creatures from entering Kunlun and protects the peace and tranquility of Kunlun. Moreover, this enlightened beast is also the mount of the Queen Mother of the West. It has the ability to see into all things and predict the future. Whenever the Queen Mother of the West and the Prince of the East go on tour, the enlightened beast leads the way and even drives the float for its owner, so it is loved by the Queen Mother of the West. The enlightened beast has 9 human faces on its head, with a solemn expression, and its copper bell-sized eyes staring at me. My face looked a little serious. This must have been sent by the Queen Mother of the West to hunt me down. If I wasn't injured, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with this guy. But, the bad thing is, I am now seriously injured. Without any hesitation, I said to Lu Hangxuan, "Let's go quickly." Lu Hangxuan originally wanted to fight an enlightened beast, but I refused because, although Lu Hangxuan is very strong now, I don't know how many divine beasts and spiritual beasts the Queen Mother of the West sent to kill me. Now it's only safe if we stay together. Lu Hangxuan transformed into a giant white python. After jumping over the dragon gate, Lu Hangxuan's body also changed slightly. The white scales on her body shone with dazzling light, and her whole body exuded a mighty dragon energy. It seems that she is not far away from Jackie Chan. Cai Dai, Princess Wenqing and I jumped on the back of Lu Hangxuan's body, and Lu Hangxuan shuttled across the snow at extremely fast speeds. The enlightened beast behind him stood motionless. Cai Dai said, "Is that guy stupid? Why is he standing there motionless?" I shook my head at Cai Dai and said, "That's an enlightened beast, it can't be stupid. I have a bad feeling in my heart." The enlightened beast appeared in the cave where we rested. In other words, he knew we would go to that cave to rest. I think of the enlightened beast's ability to see into all things and predict the future. If he doesn't come after us, could he have predicted something? I looked around and my expression became a little serious. Surrounded by snow-capped mountains, the snow is extremely thick, so the possibility of an avalanche is high. In addition, Lu Hangxuan is huge, moves very fast, and makes a lot of noise. I called Nadia to my side. I said to Cai Dai, "You come back into my body first." Upon hearing this, Cai Dai quickly shook her head and said, "I don't. I want to protect you." I took a deep breath and said to Cai Dai, "No, I have something for you to do." Cai Dai was stunned, and I whispered a few words in Nai Dai's ear. "Are you sure that monster would do that?" I nodded and replied, "It's very likely." Cai Dai didn't say anything more, and turned into colorful light and penetrated into my eyebrows. The moment the colorful butterfly entered my body, the entire Kunlun mountain began to shake violently. I looked back and saw white snow sliding down from the mountain, heading towards us with a devastating force. I was shocked. Was there still an avalanche? Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1192. Only a rumbling sound was heard, and a giant mountain of snow rushed towards us quickly with a thunderous sound. The majestic mountains of Kunlun Mountain are covered with white snow that has accumulated for thousands of years. Once an avalanche occurs, human beings will not be able to survive. I said to Princess Wenqing, "You go back to the white conch shell first." Princess Wenqing was stunned for a moment, then looked at me worriedly and asked, National Master, what about you? I smiled at her and said, don't worry, nothing will happen to me. Seeing my resolute attitude, Princess Wenchange turned into white light and returned to the white conch shell. The reason why I was sure that nothing would happen to me was because Lu Hangxuan was there. I said to Lu Hangxuan, we can't run away, so we should find a way to survive this avalanche. Lu Hangxuan agreed, stopped moving, and her huge body began to rotate and circle, protecting me tightly within it. There was just a crash, and Lu Hangxuan was buried under the heavy snow. Lu Hangxuan protected me extremely well. Not a single bit of snow came in under her body. There was a constant crashing sound outside, and I don't know how long it lasted. There was a deathly silence outside. Lu Hangxuan tried to move her body, and then twisted the snake's head in front of me. I grabbed her, and Lu Hangxuan rushed out of the thick white snow with all her strength, and sent me out. However, most of her body was still covered in ice and snow, so it would probably take some time and energy to get out. At this moment, a slight creaking sound came from my ears. This sound was the sound of someone walking on the snow. I followed the sound and saw a huge figure walking. It looked like a tiger, but it had 9 heads. Enlightened beast. Sure enough, it came. It seems that my guess is good. The reason why Enlightenment Beast did not come to chase us is because he has already predicted the future through his own ability. Knowing we were going to hit an avalanche, he could catch me without any effort. When Lu Hangxuan saw the Enlightened Beast, she struggled to get out of the ice and snow. However, the ice and snow were simply too heavy and too thick. I glanced at Lu Hangxuan. Lu Hangxuan was stunned for a moment and then understood. Chiming Beast came to me. All 9 faces had the same expression, serious and cold, but his eyes were indeed full of amusement. I struggled to stand up, but before I could stand up, I was pushed to the ground by Chiming Beast. He put 9 faces in front of me and looked at me carefully, and then, a voice sounded in my ears. Lu Su, do you think you can still run away after doing something like that in Yaokai? I raised my eyes, looked at Chiming Beast coldly, and replied, how do you know I can't run away? The 9 faces of the Enlightened Beast were full of joking expressions. He didn't bother to talk nonsense with me. He raised his huge claws, revealing his sharp claws, and patted me down. The giant claw of the Enlightened Beast was like a huge mountain, falling towards me. If I were hit by this claw, I would probably turn into pulp on the spot. I shouted with all my strength, "Nai die, now!" As soon as I finished speaking, a dazzling colorful light flashed between my eyebrows. Enlightenment Beast's eyes were pierced by this beam of light, and his movements froze. It was at this lag that Cai Dai turned into a human form and appeared in front of me. She jumped in front of the Chiming Beast, stretched out her slender hand and put it on the Chiming Beast's head. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1193. The next moment, a burst of colorful light flashed, and sleepiness appeared on the 9 faces of the Enlightened Beast. Cai Dai frowned slightly, then gave a sweet shout, and the light in her palm became a little brighter again. Chiming Beast's eyes slowly closed, and then he fell heavily to the ground. Cai Dai landed on the ground, staggered, and almost fell to the ground. Putting Chiming Beast into a coma was extremely draining for her. Colorful Butterfly staggered to me, and she asked curiously, Lu Su, how did you know it would come here? I smiled and replied, of course I'm guessing. In fact, I also have some guesses. It's strange that the Enlightened Beast didn't choose to pursue us while we were in the cave. Since he wanted to kill me, there was no reason to let me go. If so, it means that the Enlightened Beast thinks that everything is under his control and I can't run away. I thought of the ability of the Enlightened Beast, so I let Cai Dai enter my body in advance. If anything happened, Cai Dai would be able to rescue me as soon as possible. The thing is exactly as I thought, and there is no source. Lu Su, you are really smart. I smiled slightly, and Cai Dai stretched out her hand to help me up. Lu Hangxuan also emerged from the thick snow at this time. I didn't dare to be negligent and quickly asked Lu Hangxuan to leave. Lu Hangxuan walked through the Kunlun mountains in her own body, and the colorful butterflies held me tightly in her arms. She asked Princess Wenqing on the side, "Sister Wenqing, what should I do? His health is getting worse and worse." Princess Wenqing knelt down, stretched out her slender hand and gently touched my forehead. She frowned, sighed, and replied, "I don't have any good solution. I can only listen to Princess Longji and go find that Miao Fengluan." I opened my eyes with difficulty and said to them both, "Don't worry, I'm very tough and nothing will happen to me." Kaidi was anxious, "Why is it okay? I have been with you for so long and I have never seen you like this." I smiled, and Cai Dai choked at me with tears in her eyes, "You're still smiling. What if you die? What will we do? I'm still waiting for you to buy me delicious food. And Master Tianqian, what do you want her to do?" Cai Dai is indeed a child at heart. Seeing me like this, she cried anxiously. Okay, don't cry, I'm fine, I'm fine." Kadi hugged me tighter. I have been with her for so long, and in my heart, I have long regarded her as my sister. Come to think of it, Kadi also regards me as her elder brother. Seeing her crying like this made me feel bad. Kaidi choked and said, "Lu Su, you must not get into trouble. I was still thinking, I will ask Master Tianqian to call me sister after you have a child. I still want to bully him. I really admire Cai Dai's brain circuit, this is nothing." Along the way, I woke up from coma repeatedly. Before dawn, we returned to the previous Tibetan village. The first thing Lu Hangxuan did was to find someone to pick me up. Now we are too far away from the city and do not have any means of transportation. It will probably take a long time to get back to Jiyuntang. Lu Hangxuan contacted Miao Fengluan. Miao Fengluan heard that something happened to me and hurried to the Tibetan village. I was lying on the bed, my body was extremely weak, and I was out of breath. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1194. This was the worst injury I've ever had. It's never happened before. No matter what happens, I can handle it. Although I managed to cope with it this time, it caused a lot of harm to my body. Princess Wenqing, Lu Hangxuan, was taking care of me carefully. Around noon of the next day, Miao Fengluan came to the village. What surprised me was that Zhang Xiai and Zhong Zhengling also came. Zhong Zhengling, "Mr. Zhong, I haven't seen him since the incident with the Mission Ghost Lord. He has lost his youthful appearance, replaced by an old, rickety figure." Zhang Xiai came to the bed, looked at me and frowned, and asked, "What happened?" Cai Dai told Zhang Xiai exactly what happened in Yaokai. After hearing this, Zhang Xiai looked at me and said angrily, Lu Su, you don't even tell us about such a big thing, do you still regard me as your friend?" I opened my eyes weakly, looked at Zhang Xiai, forced a smile, and said, "I can handle this kind of thing myself. There are too many things involved in Yaokai. Although Zhang Xiai is a knife dealer, his strength is far from that strong. It was God I was dealing with, and I didn't want anything to happen to him." Zhang Xiai sighed helplessly and said no more. Zhong Zhengling looked at me quietly from the side, and I said to him, "Grandpa Zhong." He signaled me to be silent, and then said, "Xiao Su, you have grown up a lot, but your behavior in handling things this time was too reckless. However, Grandpa knows that you must have your reasons for doing this." Finally, Miao Fengluan came to me. With tears in her eyes, she held my hand tightly and shouted with a choked voice, "Lusu." At this moment, she seemed very panicked, and she held my hand so tightly, as if she was afraid of losing me. "I'm fine." Miao Fengluan asked Lu Hangxuan, "Sister Hangxuan, how should I save him?" Lu Hangxuan repeated Princess Longji's words. After Lu Hangxuan finished speaking, Miao Fengluan did not hesitate at all. She picked up the fruit knife on the table and opened her cuffs. There was a stabbing sound, and the sharp fruit knife cut open her wrist, scarlet red. Blood came out along the knife edge. Then he put his wrist in front of my mouth. "If my blood can save you, I am willing to shed all my blood." I looked at Miao Fengluan blankly, not knowing what to say. After much hesitation, I chose to suck the blood from Miao Fengluan's wrist. Her blood entered my body, and I instantly felt a warm current flowing through my body. The damaged meridians in my body are recovering quickly. After about a minute, I stopped sucking. Miao Fengluan's originally rosy and pretty face turned extremely pale. Just standing there, I felt like she might faint at any time. "How are you feeling?" I sat up and said to Miao Fengluan, "I feel much better." Hearing these words, Miao Fengluan breathed a long sigh of relief. I quickly asked Lu Hangxuan to help Miao Fengluan sit down. I looked at Zhang Xiai and Zhong Zhenling, hesitated again and asked, "Where is Huaxiu? Why didn't she come?" As soon as these words came out, Zhang Xiai showed a strange expression on his face. This gave me a bad premonition. Knowing that something happened to me, with Huaxiu's character, he should have come with me. But now, Huaxiu has disappeared. Could it be that something happened to Huaxiu? Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1195. What happened to Huaxiu? I asked. Zhang Shi opened his mouth but didn't say a word. I was anxious. Speak quickly. What happened to Huaxiu? Zhong Zhenling sighed helplessly and said, "Let me talk about this matter. While you were away, something big happened in Tianfu City." I was stunned and asked, "Big deal? What big deal?" Zhong Zhenling said slowly, "The head of the Taoist sect cooperated with the four ancestors of zombies to refine zombies in various places in Changling." I frowned. This Taoist section really deserves to be damned. I didn't know the true face of Dao sect before, but now I know that everyone in Dao sect is full of hypocrites. He even collaborated with zombies to make zombies out of living people. This behavior is really outrageous. Zhong Zhenling continued, "Your sister was abducted by Yinggo because she was only one step away from turning into a bone. When I arrived, she was gone. But don't worry, nothing will happen to your sister for the time being, because your sister is still of great use to Dao section. Huaxiu is a 1,000-year-old zombie, and is about to become immortal. Only the four zombie ancestors can abduct him." Zhong Zhenling hesitated and said, "Tianfu City is very dangerous for you now, because there are people from Taoist sects all over Tianfu City. As long as you show up, they will attack you." I raised my head and said to Zhong Zhenling, "Grandpa Zhong, no matter how dangerous Tianfu City is, I have to go back. I want to rescue my sister, and I can't watch the citizens of Tianfu City being persecuted by the Taoist section." Zhong Zhenling seemed to have expected that I would say this. He said to me, "There are 4 corpse-raising places in Tianfu City. The Taoist gates are extremely hidden. I have been investigating for so long, but I have not been able to find one. If you go back, you must destroy these 4 places where corpses are raised now. If you don't destroy them, Yinggu's strength will grow day by day." I nodded, and a question emerged from my mind. I asked, "Grandpa Zhong, why does the Dao sect cooperate with the 4 ancestors of zombies to refine zombies?" Zhong Zhenling replied, "Because they want to use these zombies to get a share of the underworld. Now the underworld is a powder keg, it only takes a spark to detonate. And, Yingu also wants to use these zombies to absorb corpse energy to increase his Taoist power. As for your sister's role, it is the key to the Taoist sect's control of zombies. Having said that, I roughly understood the matter. Yingo wants to improve his strength, while Daomen wants countless zombies. To refine zombies, Yingo absorbs yin qi, and those zombies need to be controlled by Huaxiu. After all, Huaxiu is a 1,000-year-old zombie, a zombie king-like existence. I clenched my fists tightly. If Daomen dares to hurt Huaxiu in the slightest, I will make them pay the price. Grandpa Zhong, let's go to Tianfu City now. Zhong Zhenling shook his head at me and said, no, your body is still too weak. We will leave after a day of training. I originally wanted to stick to my idea, but Zhong Zhenling didn't give me any room for return. Unfortunately, I can only rest here for one day. In the evening, Miao Fengluan dragged her tired body around the village looking for ingredients and cooked a meal for me. When I saw this, I said, Fengluan, you should have a good rest. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1196. Miao Fengluan shook her head at me and said, I'm fine, but your body is so weak, how can you do it if you don't replenish it? I looked at Miao Fengluan, opened my mouth, and said, compared to me, you are the one who needs rest more. Miao Fengluan was sucked a lot of blood by me, and her face is extremely pale even now. I'm fine, I'm fine. Miao Fengluan waved at me repeatedly, then picked up the cooked porridge, blew on it, and started to feed me the porridge. Fengluan, I can do it myself. With that said, I was about to take the bowl of porridge from Miao Fengluan's hand. However, Miao Fengluan was very stubborn and refused to let me eat by myself no matter what. I also understood her character, so I didn't say anything else. One day, Miao Fengluan was taking care of me with all her heart. I told her more than once that I can take care of myself, but Miao Fengluan didn't listen and still went her own way. I know Miao Fengluan's feelings for me, but I don't know how to face it. I personally feel that the relationship between her and me is more of a family relationship. I promised Miao Fengluan's mother to take good care of her, and I can't break my promise. At night, Zhong Zhenling found me. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at me quietly. Grandpa Zhong, your body. Previously, Su Tianqian told me that Zhong Zhengling's lifespan is not long. Moreover, during this period of time, I didn't have any news about Zhong Zhenling. I originally thought that he had left this world. But I never thought that he would come here again because of my affairs. Zhong Zhenling shook his head at me and said, my body is fine, Xiao Su. After I go back this time, I hope you can help Grandpa Zhong solve this matter. After all, killing demons is what my Zhong family will fight to the death in existence to defend. I was in a daze. The first time I saw Zhong Zhenling was at Muang Reservoir. At that time, Zhong Zhenling was extremely young and high-spirited, and he shocked the guys from the Dao sect as soon as he appeared on the scene. But now, he is so old that even his speech is a little weak. I nodded towards Zhong Zhenling and replied, Mr. Zhong, don't worry, I will solve this matter. Just have a good rest. Since Grandpa Zhong begged me, it means that his current physical condition is not enough to complete this matter alone. However, it doesn't matter. As long as I am here, I will not let those people from Dao sect do evil in Tianfu City. Grandpa Zhong stretched out his hand, gently rubbed my head, and said, Xiao Su, you have really grown up. It seems that your grandpa and I were not wrong in our decision. This decision refers to saving my life and taking back my limbs and 5 senses. I smiled and said, Grandpa Zhong, I will not let you and my grandfather down, so leave this matter to me. From now on, I will take care of you until you die. Grandpa Jean had no children and lived a lonely life. After hearing my words, a smile of relief appeared on his face. Good. After that, Grandpa Jean stood up and left slowly. Looking at his rickety back reminded me of my grandfather. But I didn't notice that the moment Grandpa Jean turned around, his expression became extremely lonely. He stretched out his hand, looked at it blankly, and then sighed helplessly. Early the next morning, we embarked on the journey back to Tianfu City. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1197. After a day and night of journey, I finally returned to Tianfu City. Tianfu City has not changed much, it is still so prosperous, but under the prosperity, there is a turmoil. I returned to Ji Yuntang, opened the door, and saw Xiao He sitting on the Eight Immortals table, Pleiades chicken lying at his feet, and Jin Se cleaning the room. Hearing someone opening the door, Xiao He sat up and looked at me warily. When he saw it was me, his frown instantly relaxed. "Boss! You are back." Xiao He came to me and exclaimed. Jins and Subaraji also came over. I nodded at them and said, "I'm back." Xiao He looked around and asked a little strangely, "Where is Master Tianxian?" I told Xia He and the others about Su Tianxuan's acceptance of the inheritance. Xiao He listened, then nodded, and asked, "When will Master Xian come back that day?" I shook my head and said I didn't know either. When will Su Tianxian end the inheritance? I really don't know. When the palm text responds, she may have ended the inheritance. I looked at Xiao He and asked a little strangely, "Why were you so nervous just now?" Based on my understanding of Xiao He, this guy always looks lazy. But just now, he put on a fighting posture the moment he opened the door. If he hadn't seen it was me, he would have taken action. Xiao He sighed slightly and said, "These days, those people from the Taoist sect always come here from time to cause trouble, saying that they want to take away all the magic weapons here." Hearing this sentence, I felt anger burning in my heart. There are indeed countless magic weapons in Jiyun Hall. However, I will not use those magic weapons without Su Tianxuan's permission. And those guys from the Taoist section actually wanted to snatch Ji Yuntang's treasure. They were really audacious. Fortunately, I'm here. As soon as those guys come, I'll drive them away. I glanced at Xiao He and said, "Thank you very much. The most precious thing to me in this world is not the important magic weapon, but the Ji Yuntang. Because Ji Yuntang is where Su Tianxian and I live, and it is this small shop that has witnessed the process of our acquaintance, mutual understanding, and love. At the same time, it is also the home of me and Su Tianxian. I will not allow anyone to destroy Ji Yuntang." At this moment, I suddenly remembered something. That is the Tianfu City God. Zhang Yuchain was killed by me. Now the Tianfu City God is leaderless, and I am the only heir to the Tianfu City God. I must hold the Tianfu City God in my hands. Thinking of this, I decided to go to Tianfu City God tonight to let those underworld soldiers know that I am the new city god of Tianfu City God. Soon, night fell. After saying goodbye to Miao Fengluan and Grandpa Zhong, I planned to go to Tianfu City God Temple. However, Lu Hangxuan stopped me. I looked at her doubtfully, and she replied, "I'll go with you. I once promised Master Tianxian that I would protect you." A wry smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Tianxian. Tianxian. After all this time, he still treats me like a child. I did not refuse and went to Tianfu City God Temple with Lu Hangxuan. The door of the Tianfu City God's temple was locked. This time I was not as cautious as when I first came. After all, my strength had improved, so I pushed open the door of the city god's temple. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1198. The furnishings in the Chenghuang temple are the same as the last time I came here. It's just that the yard is covered with burnt yellow leaves. It seems that no one has cleaned it for a long time. Lu Hangxuan and I came to the statue of Zhang Yucheng. The originally golden statue had now become tattered and dark. Zhang Yucheng has been destroyed in form and spirit, so the statue is naturally useless. Even if there are still people coming here to offer incense and pay tribute, it is of no use. In other words, even if Zhang Yucheng is alive, what the citizens came here to ask for will not come true. Because, Zhang Yucheng is just a false god, receiving incense but not doing the truth. I slowly stretched out my hand and activated the ghost seal of the underworld on the palm of my right hand. The door to the underworld quietly opened, and I silently recited Xiang Yi's name in my heart. Only Yin Chai knew the specific details of becoming the city god, so I could only ask Xiang Yi. After a while, Xiang Yi was not seen walking out of the gate of the underworld. This made me wonder, is this guy playing poker with the female ghost again? Thinking of this, I just wanted to walk through the gate of the underworld and take a look at the underworld. At this moment, Xiang Yi walked out of the gate of the underworld. His hair was as messy as a chicken coop. Seeing his appearance, I asked with some confusion, "What did you do?" I suddenly saw a bright red lip mark on Xiang Yi's left cheek. Is this guy really playing poker with a female ghost? Xiang Yi said with a sad face, "What can I do? It's not Mu Cheng. Since the last time I went back, she has been stuck to my side like a bullshit plaster, and I can't get rid of it." I secretly laughed in my heart. The only one who could stop Xiang Yi was Mu Cheng. I didn't exchange greetings with Xiang Yi or directly explain the purpose of calling him here. After hearing this, Xiang Yi looked at me in shock and asked, "Did you kill Zhang Yucheng?" I nodded and replied, "Yes, he has been killed. If I don't kill him, he will kill me." Xiang Yi took a breath and looked at me with shocked eyes. He said, "Your boy's strength has improved so fast. You can even kill Zhang Yucheng by yourself. You are so awesome." As he said that, Xiang Yi gave me a thumbs up. I smiled and said, "Master Xiang, please stop praising me. How on earth can I become the city god of Tianfu city god?" Xiang Yi thought for a while and replied, "When Zhang Yucheng was still alive, he had chosen you as the successor of the Tianfu city god. What you have to do is to shape your own golden body and enshrine it in the city god's temple. Then go and meet the Yin soldiers of Tianfu city god and let them know that you are now the city god of Tianfu city god." Shaping the golden body, I was slightly stunned and looked at Xiang Yi doubtfully. Xiang Yi explained, "It's easy to create a golden body." As he spoke, Xiang Yi pointed to the tattered statue to one side and said, "You can inject your own spiritual consciousness into it, which will become your golden body, and the statue will also change. You can also cover your face with a piece of red cloth, so that ordinary people like you won't know your identity. It does sound easy." Xiang Yi's expression suddenly became extremely serious, and he said to me, "Lu Su, you have to know that if you really become the city god, you will face the entire citizens of Tianfu City. Once something big or small happens in Tianfu City, you need to handle it. To put it simply, what I mean is, the city god means responsibility. Can you understand? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 1199. Of course I understand the meaning of Xiang Yi's words. The city god is the god who protects the city and is responsible for the safety of the people in the city. Of course I know, and I'm already aware of it. Xiang Yi nodded at me and said, "In that case, you first shape the golden body, and then find the city god's seal, and then I will take you to see the Yin soldiers and Yin generals of the Tianfu city god." I nodded, and Xiang Yi hesitated and said, One more thing is that the composition of the Tianfu city god is extremely complicated, and the replacement of the city god will cause dissatisfaction among them. Some of them are even supporting Zhang Yucheng. You will definitely make things difficult for you when you go there. Zhang Yucheng has been the city god of Tianfu city god for hundreds of years. There are many Yin soldiers and Yin generals who are loyal to him. However, I am not jealous. Since I have decided to completely master Tianfu city god, no matter who comes to stop me, I will defeat or even kill him. I came to the dilapidated statue, slowly stretched out my hand and pressed it against the statue. Then, I injected a piece of my spiritual consciousness into the statue. The next moment, the shabby and dark statue suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light, as if it had shed a layer of black skin, revealing the golden material inside. In the blink of an eye, the dilapidated statue was restored to its original state, and the appearance on his face was somewhat similar to mine. However, the statue of the god doesn't look like the photo. Although it looks similar, you won't recognize me if you don't look carefully. After doing this, I looked around and finally landed on a floor tile directly under the statue. I stepped forward and gently pressed the brick, and only heard the sound of the squeaking mechanism in the air. The floor tiles sank automatically, and an official seal caught my eye. This official seal is very retro, and it contains a very rich aura of awe-inspiring aura. I have seen the seals of the Jingmen city god before, and the two seals are generally the same. It's just that the characters engraved on the bottom of the seal are different, one is Tianfu city god, and the other is Jingmen city god. I held the Cheng Huang seal in my hand, came to Xiang Yi, and said, "Let's go." Xiang Yi nodded and summoned the gate of the underworld. I, Lu Hangxuan, and Xiang Yi walked in one after another. When I walked out of the gate of the underworld, I was shocked by the sight in front of me. I saw a huge retro and mysterious city appearing in front of me. Xiang Yi pointed to the city in front of him and said, "This is the real city god city in Tianfu city. Most of the city god city is located under the city god's temple. To put it simply, it is a yin area. It is the place where the city god's office and the city god's office conduct official business." Xiang Yi hesitated for a moment and said, "When you enter later, you must keep it, keep it." Xiang Yi thought for a long time and finally squeezed out two words. "Fine. Yes, just keep it cool. Try to speak as little as possible. Let them know that you are not someone to be trifled with. Well, it's just pretentious. You can always pretend, right?" I rolled my eyes and said, "I know what you mean. Isn't this just to scare these underworld soldiers? I'm afraid everyone can do this kind of thing, right? However, the prerequisite for doing this kind of thing is strength. With my current strength, adding Lu Hangxuan and Xiang Yi will not be a problem. Just in case, I called out Princess Wencheng. Then, we walked towards Chenghuang City. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1200. The composition of the city god is very complex. Under the jurisdiction of the city god, there are civil and military judges and the chief gods of various departments. Among them, the city god's assistants are the various departments, and the configuration of each department is different according to the temple. There are 3 departments, such as the Yin and Yang department, the Quick Report department, and the Picket department, 6 departments, and even there are 24 divisions or 36 divisions, and the names of each division are also different. Most of them have the Yin and Yang division as the head of the divisions. When we arrived in front of Chenghuang City, 2 Yin soldiers guarding the gate stopped us. "Stop!" the Yin soldier said coldly to us. Xiang Yi frowned, stepped forward, raised his hand and slapped the Yin soldier who was speaking. Snapped. The crisp sound of slaps resounded under the night sky. "Open your eyes and see clearly. This is the new city god of Tianfu city god? You are so brave. You dare to block his way." Yin Bing was a little confused by Xiang Yi's big dick. He covered his face and looked at Xiangyi blankly. Xiangyi raised his hand and slapped him again. Look. What are you looking at? Get out of here. The two big bastards completely stunned the Yin soldiers and opened the city gate dully. We walked into Changhuang City. Xiangyi chuckled beside me and said, "How is it? I am a competent bodyguard, right?" I gave Xiangyi a thumbs up and said, "Competent. Very competent." There were many Yin soldiers in the city. When these Yin soldiers saw me, they were slightly startled. Because Zhang Yuqian is dead, I naturally became the city god of Tianfu city god. They can also feel the aura of the city god in me. However, they did not kneel. It can be seen that they are still a little dissatisfied with me. Naturally, I ignored these guys, and soon we arrived at the Changhuang mansion. Xiangyi kicked the door open and said to me, "You wait here, I'll call those guys over. If anyone disobeys you, just teach them a lesson." I nodded. Xiangyi left. I looked around and saw that the Changhuang mansion was somewhat similar to an ancient yamen, with a main hall. Behind the main hall is the room where the city god lived. Lu Hangxuan suddenly said to me, "They will definitely make things difficult for you later. Don't take action unless it is absolutely necessary." "I will solve it." The reason Lu Hangxuan didn't let me take action was not because I was weak, but because she tried her best to create an image of a superior person for me. Give a simple example. If there are masters around a person, even if that person does not take action, that person is still very powerful in the eyes of others. After all, there are masters around. Princess Wenqing looked around, a strange look flashed in her eyes, and I asked with some confusion, "What's wrong with you?" Princess Wenqing looked at me with crystal tears in her eyes. "No. It's nothing. I thought I would never return to the Central Plains again in my life." I instantly understood why Princess Wenqing was sentimental. For the sake of the national destiny of the Tang dynasty, she went to the western regions alone. She stayed there for decades and was unable to return to the Central Plains until her death. People have a different kind of affection for their hometown. As the poem says, "Why do I always have tears in my eyes? Because I love this land deeply." I smiled at Princess Wenqing and said, "After the things here are settled, you can go out for a walk. Although thousands of years have passed, great changes have taken place here, but the land under your feet is still the same for thousands of years. The land before